Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today we're going to look at a tank which we've looked at many times, and we're going to look at it for a reason, because the tank itself there's certain things about the tank that will never ever change, and of course we are going to look at the Death Star. Now, there's certain things about the Death Star that will never, ever change. But for now, we're going to look at the stats, and then we are going to get into a game, which is actually an amazing game. And to be fair, watching the game, the result of the game has nothing, is totally opposite for what we are going to talk about. So, stat-wise, it has no armor. I mean, you may get a troll bounce from like, every now and again, but you can't rely on the armor. It's got no armor pretty much whatsoever. The DPM 2,862. That is, of course, with calibrated shells, around about 3,000 without calibrated shells, but you need to use calibrated shells with this tank. Your reload is basically 20 seconds, and your penetration is 324 on your standard, on your AP, and 238 on your HESH, or 86 on your cheap HESH. Now, just your AP, you have 950 alpha. Your premium HESH is 1,210, and then your low budget HESH, for example, is 1,390. Your aim time is 4.9. Of course, it's not going to be great. Your gun dispersion is almost 0.4, which again is not great, and you only do have 5 degrees of gun depression with a top speed of 38 kilometers per hour. So stat wise, you know, there's things about the tank that's good. In fact, there's only one thing about the tank that is good, and that, of course, is the armor. No, it's not the armor, it's the alpha. Everything else about the tank it is pretty much useless. Now, the thing with the Death Star, it's one of those tanks that everybody wants to play, but no one really likes it, because they only ever want to play it because they want to do the alpha. Now, there's one thing about the tank that will never ever change, and it's the sole purpose really of the video, and that is, it is the lowest win rate tank in tier 10 constantly. It's around about 44%, and every month that I look, and every month that I used to make these videos, I haven't made them more recently, but the Death Star is always the lowest tank. Like, it's always at the bottom when it comes to tier 10. So many people playing it, but not only that, not only is it number one when it comes to lowest win rate, but it's also normally number one when it comes to most played, most popular. It's up there. So naturally, because more people are playing it, and more people are playing it more often, of course it's going to have a lower win rate. But even without that, it's always going to have a low win rate figure. It always, without a shadow of a doubt, it's always going to be number one when it comes to win rate, because people, you know, and I haven't even looked at sort of survival rate or anything like that, but I should imagine this tank is also up there when it comes to survival rate. And that's because when you're in a game, people do focus the Death Star. People want to get the Death Star out of the game. And that's natural, you know, because of the alpha, and because of the damage that it can cause. People want to get rid of the Death Star as soon as possible. That's because it can change, you know, it can change the battle. You may only have one shot. It might be a HE shot, and if it is, and you do upwards of 1,500 damage, that can be, that one shot there could be the difference between winning and losing. And I've always said that with the Death Star, it's not a fantastic tank. It is my most played tank because, you know, it can be fun. It can be one of the most fun tanks in the game, and that is just because of the alpha. You have one single shot, that like HE shot, that does 1,620 alpha. Like, you're already, you know, that's my job done. That one shot is my job done. I'm happy, you know, your face when you do one shot. I mean, Amarax as well, just like that. It's one of the best tanks in the game to Amarak, not only with the alpha, but yeah, Amarak is fantastic in the tank. You used to almost be able to guarantee an Amarak on an IS-7, and of course the 5A, as that guy has just seen. So, you know, the Amarak ability, the alpha that it's got, does make it one of the most fun tanks in the game. But also because of the accuracy, because of the you know, the aim time, everything like that, it makes it also one of the most frustrating tanks. You can be spotted from a mile away, which is also frustrating. It didn't used to be like that, but when Wargaming decided to nerf it, they didn't decide to nerf the camo. So basically you couldn't sit at the back of the map unspotted just farming damage. You'd get spotted all day long, which again, now it's frustrating. You know, you want to have a bit of fun in the Death Star, you want to do a big amount of damage, but you just get spotted from a mile away. And talking about damage, I mean, you're always going to get high damage games as well. The Death Star is my highest damage game, and you're constantly seeing 8,000, 9,000, sometimes even 10,000 battles in this tank. And this tank is very similar to the battles that we're on about, or the damage that we're on about. So doing 1,100 damage there to the enemy Death Star, of course, does feel pretty nice when you do it to one of your own. So far, only 3 shots done, and he's on 4K. Of course, it did help with the 2,000 damage ammo rack. Of course, it did help. The only other frustrating thing with the Death Star, it happens a lot when you're aiming and aiming. You find a weak point, I mean a big weak point as well, where you have loaded up the Hesh, and it is a very easy pen, and you only do 200 damage. It's frustrating. It can be very, very frustrating, and that's why, you know, it's either that or you really aim and then you miss. And then there's other shots where you don't even need to aim, you snapshot and you manage to hit the tank, and you're like, how did that hit? It can be frustrating, and again, you have to be careful because people will focus you. But you know, it's one of those tanks, it's very, very hard to carry as well. Now, I know I'm talking shit this game because this guy is now a 1 versus 4, and yes, he's full hit points, but when you're in a Death Star, against 4, hit points are not really a big thing because they can dramatically decrease when you have a 20-second reload. Now, he does go for the Hesh there because he wanted to guarantee, he didn't want a low roll. So, you know, and it worked. So that is now 3 kills for our guy, 5.6k damage. At this point, everybody knows where he's at. There's the Leopard. Hello, Leopard. No need to switch to the HE. Just get him gone. He had a high roll. He knew he was going to do just over 800 damage anyway. So I like that. A lot of people would have switched to the Hesh there because they know they can penetrate the Leopard pretty much anywhere. And where we were talking about lucky bounces, that is exactly what he has just got from the enemy Death Star. So he does manage to take out the FV4005. Luckily, I think that guy had 1 shot left, but he reloaded just in time, literally just in time. So here comes the Death Star. Now, luckily, the Death Star on the enemy team, it's not a quick tank, so he is able to get around this corner. Of course, as you're turning, it's a very difficult tank to Circle of Death, that's for sure. And now it's literally just a 1 versus 1. Whoever's going to make the mistake, both are 1 shots. The difference is the Death Star, the green Death Star here that we're watching, he is only on 143. So the enemy Death Star could just load up the Hesh. He can even just probably shoot next to him, and he is going to do the damage. Now, if I was the enemy Death Star, I would just wait because they're winning on supremacy points. This Death Star has to be the one that makes the move. He does that, and he gets caught off guard. So overall, a 1 versus 4, you don't see a 1 versus 4 that often in this tank. It is extremely difficult to carry in this tank, especially a 1 versus 4. But he managed to do it, managed to get just over 8,000 damage. And that block he got from the Death Star proved to be very, very vital indeed. So let me know what you think of the Death Star. Again, it's one of the most frustrating tanks in the game, but also it can be the most rewarding. You know, when you do over 1,100, 12, 13, 14, 1,500 damage per shot, it does feel good. I'm not gonna lie, it does feel good, but it's always at the bottom when it comes to win rate. So let me know what you think of the Death Star in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.